again. I'm joining you live from the Narendra Modi Stadium. Just a few minutes back, the press conference took place. It's T-2. There will be a press conference expected tomorrow as well. In just a short while from now, in fact, the Indian team's practice session is set to get underway. 6 to 9 p.m. is India's practice session. I'm going to be heading inside for that as well in just a short while. And then when I come out of that practice session, I'll be joining you guys live once again with the updates of how is it that India practice, what are the plans that India are trying to conjure up in that match against South Africa, which will take place at this very stadium in a couple of days time from now. But let's get to the press conference and the few takeaways that I have for you from that Morne Morkel press conference which took place just a couple of minutes back here at the Narendra Modi Stadium. Abhishek Sharma, his form is being talked about a lot. 3 ducks, he's not yet opened an account. The internet's having an absolute field day. People are talking about Yashasvi Jaiswal, Sanju Samson. Abhishek Sharma has really had a hard time to endure on the internet. But is this really something that's concerning the Indian team? Morne Morkel, the Indian coach, bowling coach, says that they haven't even spoken about it. This is not a conversation that they're having. They feel very confident about Abhishek Sharma. He's hitting the ball very well in the nets, and they feel it's only a matter of time that he comes good, and there is no conversation per se or discussion that's happened. What I do remember from a couple of days back when Abhishek Sharma was practicing at this very venue, this was on the eve of the Netherlands T20I, when he said when he was seen practicing against spin a lot. That also was something that was talked about as to how the Indian team is performing against spin in this very tournament. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But Abhishek's form, the Indian team says there is no concern. He will come good. He's looking good in the nets, and you really need not worry about Abhishek Sharma. Let's see. There is, remember, Sanju Samson as well, who is lurking, who is there, one who can be considered. But if you ask me, from the sense that I got from this press conference and from whatever little that I've been able to gather, it does not look like you're looking past an Abhishek Sharma just yet. Just the sheer upside of having an Abhishek Sharma, and if he fires, yeah, that upside is tremendous, and I think that's what the Indian team is also banking on. Yes, the group stage hasn't gone as per plan for the Indian team and Abhishek Sharma, but this Indian team feels that it's just a matter of time that he comes good. That's point number one that that emerged from that press conference. The other point, since I mentioned spinners, and this is a question that I had posed to Morne Morkel, the question that I asked to him was as to what the Indian team is looking at in terms of its plan, because you've seen a wicket be lost in the early stages of the power play, and you've seen spinners be deployed against the Indian batters. So I asked if this is a concern, if the Indian team are looking at recalibrating their approach, because more and more spinners are coming into play. Aiden Markram was bowling extensively in today's net session, but Morne Morkel says ultimately you've got to look at the overall picture. Yes, they've had to adapt to the conditions, and the conditions aren't the same as they were coming into the tournament. You saw belters being on display, but he says that we understand that the conditions are different. So the idea is to just have a foundation in place and play out that particular time when the spinners are having a greater say. Ultimately, he says, because there is firepower in this Indian batting lineup and they know they can pull the trigger at a later stage, the idea is to just consolidate at that particular time. So this, if you ask me, is a bit of a deviation from what we've seen from the Indian team in the past. In bilaterals, you would see the Indian team, unless there were 3, 4, 5 wickets down, which was not always the case in bilaterals. In fact, seldom the case in bilaterals, I would say. The Indian team would go for its shots. But at the moment, that's not something we've seen in this in these 4 matches of the ongoing T20 World Cup. And I don't think that's changing as well. The Indian team, from what Morne Morkel says, will look to consolidate, will look to have a foundation in place, and expect its power hitters, its batters who bat 6, 7, 8 in Rinku, Dubey, Aksar, these guys to be providing the final flourish. Now let's have a word about the opponents. It's, remember, a rematch of the 2024 final, and of course Morne Morkel, being a South African, knows a thing or two about the opposition. But he says this is a coming together of two very good teams, world class players having a go at each other, and this has little to do with the skill because both teams look very good on paper. South African team, in fact, he went ahead and called them a confident unit, world-class players who've got all the skill sets and are really riding on a very good tide at the moment. And in that regard, he feels such matches, when there are 22 very competitive and elite-level athletes going head-to-head against each other, oftentimes such matches are decided by those moments, how you temperamentally approach those moments, and if you're able to execute things well. So staying calm is something he emphasized on, and he said that in this kind of a match on Sunday, you will see the team that wins will be the one that will have greater composure and calm about themselves when they go about their business in those tense moments. There were a bunch of questions asked about the pitches as well, and on that he said, yes, it's not the same from what things were like in bilaterals, and this is that time of the year where you're looking at pitches getting worn out because your domestic seasons ended. Remember, Ranji Trophy, just the finals left. You've seen the S-Mat happen as well. So pitches are worn out, pitches are tired. He did have a good word or two to say about the curators for still having dished out pitches that offer runs, that enable teams to go out and express themselves, see scores of about 190, 200, 220. A couple of occasions we've seen those scores as well, and he still feels that there is a good chance you will see some good batting on display at not just this stadium but otherwise as well as we go around in the tournament. That is not something that they're too fussed about. At some point they feel that those runs will come, and pitches, yes, that's just the rigors of international cricket that you need to then adjust. These have not been the easiest pitches. He mentioned about the Wankhede wicket. Remember, India had lost 6 wickets. Suryakumar Yadav had to bail the Indian team out, and he says that yes, we've had to recalibrate a bit. Pitches have been a little different from what they've been in the past. But ultimately, what matters is that the Indian team posts runs, and that is something that's been happening. And he remains confident about this Indian team to do well in the future as well. Come the Super 8 games. Remember, you're against South Africa on Sunday, then you've got the game against Zimbabwe, and before you get into the semi-finals, that third game will also take place against the West Indies, and you were expecting the team to come good, because ultimately what's happened is you've been able to get some runs going, and there's somebody or the other who has stepped up, and that's been the philosophy of this team. He had a good couple of things to say about Shivam Dube though, because so much is being credited to Morne Morkel for having Shivam Dube realize his potential to be able to add a few more clicks over there. We've seen Shivam Dube bowl the final over the other day. In fact, we've seen him bowl the first over in the Asia Cup final as well, when there was no Hardik Pandya, and he says that it's because of the confidence he got from the coach, the captain, and the others, that Shivam Dube has been able to get the best out of him. Shivam Dube, he says, is somebody who relies on confidence, and I think if you ask me, that's somewhat true as well. Shivam Dube has been given that confidence, and he has passed with flying colours. Yes, on an occasion or two you've seen Shivam Dube leak runs, but he's developed some variations as well. You see him come up with the back of the arm slower delivery. You've seen him try to crank it up as well, go to about 135, 136 clicks. That has been Shivam Dube for you. It's a bit of a revelation. And before I leave, there was a question that was asked on Varun Chakravarti as well, as to how